morning to Dr. Hamidun and my dear fellow friends. I'm Sharma Ramesh. My metric number is AP190426. I'm from group number 7. Today we would like to explain about pile foundation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nama saya Muhammad Aiman Syamil bin Musa. Metrik nombor saya ialah AP190383. Saya daripada grup 7.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Zubaidah binti Tahir and my metric number is AP190086.
In this video, I am going to talk about the mind map for pulse foundation. The first aspect I'm going to talk about are methods of forming. There are few methods of forming, which is precast, pre-stress and cast in situ. Precast piles are prefabricated piles made of pre-stressed concrete that are driven into the ground by a diesel or hydraulic hammer. Pre-stressed pile is a concrete pile which is pre-stressed in order to eliminate or reduce cracking during its transportation to the construction site. And lastly, cast in situ pile is constructed by driving a concrete casing into the ground, then filling it with concrete. The next one is method of installation, which is driven, buoyed, vibrated, and screw. Effect of installation of pile. There are two effects, which is displacement pile and non-displacement pile. Displacement pile causes the soil to be displaced within the soil mass as pile is driven, while non-displacement pile, the soil is removed and excavation may or may not be spotted. Material used in the pile construction are timber, concrete, steel and composite. Composite are two different materials that are combined together to create a new substance. Cross-section for pile foundation are square, hexagonal, I-section, H-section, pipe and circular. And lastly, the shape for pile foundation includes cylindrical, tapered and underrimmed. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hello everyone and Dr. Hamidun bin Muhammad Noor. Our group will present chapter 7, pile foundation. Before we start, I would like to introduce my group members for group 7. First is Muhammad Aiman Syamil bin Musa, Siti Zubaidah binti Tahir, Ahmad Syakirul Arif bin Aminuddin, Sharman Anak Lelaki Ramesh and Ajlan Najiha binti Azman. Okay, first, what is pile foundation? Pile foundation, a kind of deep foundation, is actually a slender column or long cylinder made of materials such as concrete or steel, which are used to support the structure and transfer the load at desired depth either by end bearing or skin friction. Pile foundations are deep foundations. They are formed by long, slender columnar elements typically made from steel, reinforced concrete or sometimes timber. A foundation is described as pile when its depth is more than 3 times its breadth. When to use pile foundation? Following are the situations when using a pile foundation system can be. First, when the groundwater table is high, heavy and ununiform loads from superstructure are imposed. Other types of foundations are costly or not feasible. When the soil at shallow depth is compressible. When there is the possibility of scoring due to its location near the riverbed or seashore. When there is a canal or deep drainage system near the structure. When soil excavation is not possible up to the desired depth due to poor soil condition. And last is when it becomes impossible to keep the foundation trench dry by pumping or by any other measure due to heavy inflow of seepage. Next, we move to types of pile foundation. Pile foundations can be classified based on function, materials, and installation process. Following are the types of pile foundation used in construction. First, based on function or use: sheet piles, load-bearing piles, end-bearing piles, friction piles, and soil compactor piles. Based on materials and construction method: timber piles, concrete pile, steel pile, and composite piles. Sheet piles. This type of pile is mostly used to provide lateral support. Usually they resist lateral pressure from loose soil and the flow of water. They are usually used for cofferdams, trenching, and shore protection. They are not used for providing vertical support to the structure. They are usually used to serve the following purpose: construction of retaining walls, protection from riverbank erosion, retain the loose soil around foundation trenches, for isolation of foundation from adjacent soils, and for confinement of soil, and thus increase the bearing capacity of the soil. And bearing piles. In this type of pile, the load pass through the lower tip of the pile. The bottom end of the pile rests on a strong layer of soil or rock. Usually the pile rests at a transition layer or a weak and strong layer. As a result, the pile acts as a column and safely transfers the load to the strong layer. The total capacity of end-bearing pile can be calculated by multiplying the area of the tip of the pile and the bearing capacity at the particular depth of soil at which the pile rests. Considering a reasonable factor of safety, the diameter of the pile is calculated. Friction pile. Friction pile transfer the load from structure to the soil by the frictional force between the surface of the pile and the soil surrounding the pile, such as stiff clay and sandy soil. Friction can be developed for the entire length of the pile or a definite length of the pile, depending on the strata of the soil. In friction pile, generally the entire surface of the pile works to transfer the loads from the structure to the soil. The surface area of the pile multiplied by the safe friction force developed per unit area determines the capacity of the pile. While designing skin friction pile, the skin friction to be developed at the pile surface should be sincerely evaluated, and a reasonable factor of safety should be considered. Besides, this one can increase the pile diameter, depth, number of piles, and make pile surface rough to increase the capacity of friction pile. Timber piles. Timber piles are placed under the water level. They last for approximately about 30 years. They can be rectangular or circular in shape. Their diameter or size can vary from 12 to 16 inch. The length of the pile is usually 20 times of the top width. They are usually designed for 15 to 20 tons. Additionally, strength can be obtained by bolting fixed plates to the side of the piles. Concrete piles. The precast concrete pile is cast in pile bed in the horizontal form if they are rectangular in shape. Usually, circular piles are cast in vertical forms. Precast piles are usually reinforced with steel to prevent breakage during its mobilization from casting bed to the location of the foundation. After the piles are cast, curing has to be performed as per specification. Generally, curing period for precast piles is 20 to 28 days. Steel piles. Steel piles may be of I-section or hollow pipe. They are filled with concrete. The size may vary from 10 inch to 24 inch in diameter, and thickness is usually 3/4 inch. Because of the small sectional area, the piles are easy to drive. They are mostly used as end-bearing piles. Advantage of steel piles is easy to install, can reach a greater depth compared to any other type of pile, can penetrate through the hard layer of soil due to the less cross-sectional area, easy to splice steel piles, and can carry heavy loads. While the disadvantage of steel piles is prone to corrosion, has a possibility of deviation while driving and comparatively expensive. That's all from my group. Thank you.